morning, second grade. I'm Miss Klein, and we're going to continue to learn about time. So you guys already know how to tell if it's 3 o'clock or 3:30, but we're going to learn how to tell time by fives today. So can you tell me, how do you know when it's time for lunch at school? Exactly. You look at the clock and you know, oh, it's 11:30, it's time for us to go to lunch. Because we have to keep on schedule in order to do all the activities that we want to do in a day. So, but at home, you have a different looking clock, don't you? Yeah, your mom's phone, maybe your alarm clock, the one on your oven. Does anyone remember what the name of that clock is? That's a tricky one. It's called a digital clock. I bet you guys remember it now. Digital. So a digital clock is the one that we see probably the most often. Okay, so I'm going to write a time. Okay, so who can tell me, how do I know what hour? Where's the hour? How do I know that from looking at this digital clock? Exactly, yeah, that first number tells me that it's 3 o'clock. That's the hour. So how do I know how many minutes it's been? Exactly, yeah. After the colon, it tells me how many minutes. So how would you read this? 3:25. You read it just like you see it. Okay, but what about this clock that you see? We see this one in school. We can see it in your home, in other places. Like it's usually a lot of decoration. You see them. So what is that one called? That one's a tougher word. An analog clock. Can you guys all say that? Analog. Yeah, good. Okay, so analog looks like this, okay? So there are a few things we need to know if we are going to tell time with an analog. So let's review what those are. Okay, so my hour, how do I know what the hour is? Yeah, we have a shorter hand, good job. And what numbers does it point at? Because there's big numbers and then there's little numbers. Yeah, it points at the big numbers, 1 through 12. It points at those numbers. So we're going to write 3:25, okay? So 3, perfect. Okay, my shorthand. So how do I know how many minutes it's been? How do I show that? Exactly, yeah, I have a longer hand. Okay, but how do I show 25 minutes? Yeah, I'm going to have to count to 25. So how about let's look at my clock that doesn't have any of the hour times. It just has the minutes. It might be a little easier for us to visualize it, okay? So if we see, it starts at 0 and it goes all the way to 59, okay? How many minutes are in an hour? Exactly, there's 60 minutes in an hour. But when it's 3 o'clock, it's not 3:60. No, that sounds silly. So it starts at 0. But once it reaches that 0, that means, oh, we've reached 60 minutes, but it's the next hour, right? So there are also these longer hash marks in there. Does anyone notice what is the pattern where those hash marks are placed? Exactly, yeah, they're placed at multiples of 5. So that makes it easier for us to count. Okay, so we want to go to 3:25. So let's see where that would be on our analog clock. Okay, so we have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So it's not quite halfway, but it's almost there. So right there, 3:25. So we're going to draw our minute hand at the 25. Now, does anyone notice anything else about my hour hand? Yeah, it's not exactly at the 3. Why would that be? Yeah, it's because the hands, they move at the same time. If you watch super closely, you can kind of see the hour hand move, but you don't notice it very much because it only moves from here to here. Is that a very long way to move? No. So it has to move just a tiny bit, because it has to take an entire 60 minutes or 1 hour to move from here to here. But our minute hand, that hand moves all the way around the clock. So it moves faster, we notice it more. So the closer that our minute hand gets to completing a full cycle of 60 minutes or 1 hour, our hour hand gets closer to the next hour. So that way we know, oh, it's not exactly 3 o'clock, but we're halfway there. Oh, we're getting closer, closer. And then until you see the hour hand reach the 4 exactly, then we know it's at 4. But if it's still behind the 4, between the 3 and the 4, then we know it's still 3 o'clock. Even if it's at the 59, it'll look like it's at 4 o'clock, but it's still 3:59. Very tricky, very tricky. But we're going to practice, so don't worry. Okay. How about you help me to draw 4:45. Okay, so I'm going to write that like a digital clock. 4:45. Okay, so let's do my minute hand first. I think that might be easier. Maybe let's draw it on these, and then maybe we can place it up there. Okay, so 45 minutes. So let's start here at 0, and we're going to count to 45. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Okay? So 45. Perfect. And now it's 4 o'clock. Okay? So we know here's the 4. But how are we going to place it? Is it going to be closer to the 4 or closer to the 5? Yeah, it's going to be closer to the 5 because it's almost completed its full 60-minute cycle. So it's almost 5 o'clock, but it's not quite there. Okay, so we're going to draw that close to the 5, but not quite there. Okay, so now let's put those together and we'll put them on our completed analog clock. So 4:45. Perfect. Great job. Now I'm going to try one, and you're going to tell me what time it is. Yeah, you're going to tell me what time it is, okay? So, I'm going to be really tricky, but I bet you guys can do it. Okay. Well, that is tricky. Jeffrey, what time is it? 2:55. That was such a close answer. Can anyone tell me what was Jeffrey thinking? He made just a little mistake, but that was such a good guess. He got the minutes right, but what was his mistake on our hour? Yeah, he thought, because it looks like it's pointing at the 2, doesn't it? It does, but it's still at the 1 because has our minute hand completed a full 60-minute cycle? Not quite, so it's not quite at the 2. Okay, so Jeffrey, what time would it be instead of 2:55? Yeah, it would be 1:55. Exactly, because look, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. So we have 5 minutes left until it's 2 o'clock, don't we? Yep, so it's still 1 o'clock. Great job. Okay. We will do one more practice, and you are going to help me draw this one. Okay, 8:10. All right, so let's do it on our charts first. So Madison, what would be my hour hand? Where would I place that? Okay, I see. So you looked at the 10. You noticed that it's just beginning. It's the beginning of the hour, so it's going to be pretty close to 8, isn't it? Good job. Okay. Okay, so it's still pretty close to the 8. Okay, good job. And what about my 10? Yep, it is going to be, yep, great job. So we counted 5, 10. That was easy peasy. Okay, now let's combine it, and we will say it is 8, 10. That almost looks like a straight line, doesn't it? Awesome. Okay, so now it's time for partner practice, okay? So I am going to place you with a partner, and you guys are going to do a round robin activity. So you'll get a baggie with these clocks, and you'll get one of these sheets and a dry erase marker, okay? So what you're going to do is one partner is going to draw a clock out of here. You're not going to show your partner. That's very important. So you're going to look and you're going to say, oh, it says 3:40, okay? So now you're going to tell your partner, you'll say, please draw 3:40. Your partner is going to take this clock and they are going to draw 3:40 on this clock. They're going to show the minutes here and the hour here, and then they're going to put it all together up here. Okay, so you have a picture of what the clock should look like on here. Okay, so once they're done, then the partner that drew this card, you're going to look, and if it matches, you're going to say, yay, good job. But if it doesn't match, then you're going to say, oh, that was such a good try, but I think maybe it should be like this, and then you're going to help them so that they can do it better the next time. Okay, and then you'll switch, and you'll keep switching until time is up. Okay? Perfect. Time is up. So now, thank you so much. I need you to place your supplies, please, on my desk, and then come back and sit on my carpet. Oh, you guys are doing so great. Oh, I just love it. Okay. So now it's time. You guys got so much practice. Are there any questions left over? No? Okay. If you have any questions during during your individual work, I'll be walking around, but you guys were doing so great during your partner work. I'm so very proud of you. So this is your exit ticket, okay? So it's a worksheet, and it says, what time is it? So it is your job to read this analog clock, and you're going to write the digital time, okay? Remember how we wrote 8:10? Yep, that's our digital time, so that's what you would write on that line, and that's what is drawn up here. That was the timer for your partner work. I quit a little early because you guys were just doing so great. I figured you'd want to start on your work. So you'll need to complete this, and when you're done, you can flip it over and you can draw your own analog clock and maybe practice some. But I'll give you a little bit of time, and if you have any questions, I'll be around. Otherwise, get started. Okay, that should be it.